A large pile of building materials and debris blocked the way. The factory floor never could get the repairs it needed. We were closed too soon for that to happen. Stop hitting the pipes. Okay, just stop. Creepy sons of creepland. A rack of flashlights hung on the wall. One of them was missing. The one I have. My head ached terribly as I closed the door behind me. I saw the wooden path beyond the light of the factory. Still, it was better than that stuffy, foul-smelling room I had found. Who would have used the old locker room? Someone was obviously going up there, but it didn't make any sense. If I could reach town from there, maybe I could find Norman's store. It was close to one of the main roads. Maybe he could help. Okay, so there were a couple things there that I didn't do. I don't know if I missed anything there. Pickup had smashed into the guardrail and stood silent. Was this the truck that those newspaper clippings mentioned? Was there really a body found here? I looked closer at the tailgate and could see a series of dried streaks down its back. Inside the truck was dried blood and broken glass. I was surprised this hadn't been towed away yet. Yeah, that's kind of a good point. Because, I mean, I could have done one of those earlier. You know, gone through the fence. Garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food in slick black bags. I saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Did I take it back? Yeah. Best I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card, and now this. I tucked the card in my wallet next to my credit card. Did somebody steal this from me? I wondered why they would have stashed it there. It sounded like it was going to start raining again. Oh, good. I'd entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet, except for a faint sound of a television. At least I'm inside for it to rain. Norman! The entrance to the front of the store was locked from the inside. Like I couldn't just pop it open. I needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the table. What? Norman? Hey, buddy. Oh my god, there's blood. Norman! What's that? What was this? Like a pole chain hanging from the ceiling. Wondered where it would lead. Did I pull the pole chain? No. I was too afraid to see what was up there for myself. Maybe it was for the best. I just want to find Norman first. Jesus! Couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my coworker and one of my few friends in this town, lay dead behind his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he'd been shot trying to get up. His eyes were still wide with shock. Norman, you deserve better than this. Did I close his eyes? I wasn't sure if I wanted to give him peace, or if I just couldn't stand to think anymore about what was going on. Quickly, I closed Norman's eyes. The TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. Gave the chain a single tug, and a simple folding ladder to the attic popped down. Tucked against the wall were an old sleeping bag and portable camping stove. The sleeping bag smelled earthy. Had it been used recently? Norman, were you in those woods? The camping stove looked newer and had a relatively fresh fuel canister locked in place. That didn't seem too safe. Camping stove looked newer and had a relatively fresh fuel. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Let's say it twice. was a large cardboard box that hadn't been sealed. Did I open it? Yes. Inside the old cardboard box was a pile of clothes, photos, and even shoes. I looked closer and realized they were Rachel's. What were you doing here, Rachel? Were you responsible for poor Norman downstairs? The item in the box only made my head spin more. I desperately needed answers. Yeah, you are a crazy person. I am a crazy person. I went crazy. I killed everyone. And I somehow lost my memory because of it all. I wasn't entirely surprised to find this there. It was one of Rachel's old fall coats. I always wondered what happened to it. How long had it been there? There was a little bit of something dark staining on the sleeve. Inside the cabinet was a small but impressive collection of hunting rifles, shotguns, and even a few items I didn't think were legal here. One of the slots on the rack was empty. The gun I'd found seemed to match the others there. If the handgun was Norman's, what the hell was he doing with it? The gun would fit there. Did I place it back in the cabinet? You know what? Yes. I felt a great burden lifted. Norman, what were you doing with all these? You're damn right, I put the gun back. I'd never been to Norman's place before. At least, I didn't remember ever doing so. Yeah, because you don't remember anything, bud. Kitchen trash bin smelled fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? No. I was already filthy and exhausted. I didn't want to go rooting around in the garbage. Oh, that's where the key is. I found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. Okay, a hairpin. Like Norman was eating for two. Because he's been living with Rachel. Should be able to use. I used the hairpin to pick the lock. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. The general store was small, but it was clean. Had usual things, postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned goods. I never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work when we needed anything. The register was mostly empty, and a fat stack of travel magazines sat beside it. I wondered if someone had robbed the place before killing Norman upstairs. No, he would empty the register at the end of the night. You don't leave a register filled with money. Doesn't make any sense. The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for a while. Most of its contents were half melted. What was the matter, Norman? Cheated on your hydro bills, too? There were various postcards from the area, especially from the tourist traps. One of the postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. It looked to be in much better shape then. Of all the postcards, that one seemed to be the most popular. There were only a few left. It had been weeks since I'd last seen Norman, and fighting him that way still left me cold. Thinking of him slumped against the chair only cemented my reassurance in getting rid of that gun. It looked like someone had taken that piece from his store. But why was it in those tunnels? As I stepped outside, I recalled that dusty old box of clothes in Norman's attic. I felt like I had only discovered more questions, no answers, but I was close to home. It was time to find out the truth. Oh, yeah? Okay, so I have 3 doors, 4 doors. 4 doors. Okay. Alright. 4 doors. Door number 1 was locked. This wasn't the right gate. Okay. Door number 2. This wasn't my house. Door number 3. The neighborhood's local post box. A letter was sticking out as if someone had pushed it in all the way. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? No. I left the letter right where it was. The neighborhood mail wasn't my problem. Oh, good. There's blood there. I almost feel like I should look at the neighborhood mail, but I'm not gonna. The door only led me back. I had to find my house. I wanted to go to door number 4. Darn it. Gate was locked tight. This wasn't my house. Should I look at the neighborhood mail? Let's not look at the neighborhood mail. Let's not be a bad person. Now let's be a bad person. The envelope was addressed to Norman. There was no return address, but the handwriting looked familiar. I took a deep breath and tore open the package. The letter read, Norman, I'm sending this to you in a letter because I'm afraid to tell you this in person. What we did, well, it was wrong. My husband isn't an easy man to be with, but he is my husband, and your friend. I need some time to sort this out. Away from you both. Going away for a while. I'm going to tell him, Norman, so don't think you can hold that against me. I'm going to tell him and get past this. Maybe we'll work it out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I even want to. But he deserves at least that much. So yeah, they had an affair. Okay, I kind of knew that. Didn't really need the note to tell me. I kind of already knew. There's blood on my gate. I'd entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding, and it chilled me through my clothes. I was expectant, but also afraid. Rightly so. More blood. I held my breath as I approached our back door. I was terrified to step inside. The house was painfully quiet. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door, but the power was off. Oh, that was blood. The table was clean. It hadn't been used any time recently. The door to the basement was locked. Where'd I put the damn key? There was a small pile of mail on the floor in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Most of the contents were bills. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? I ripped the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about canceling my credit card due to non-payment. The hell? The front door was locked from inside. I couldn't go out, though I needed to see if Rachel was here. Oh, I couldn't go out, though. I needed to see if Rachel was here. That's how it was supposed to be. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. An old photo of Rachel and me stared back at me, reminding me of better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? There was no reason to hold on to old memories. I had my license and my credit card. That was enough. No, I will take that. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I had gotten part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? We'll take that. Our television. I purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. I felt pretty guilty about it afterwards, but by then it was too late. Rachel was pretty angry about that, I realized. The books there were half mine, half Rachel's. Hey, now that I look more closely, it looked like the man in the house had some of the same books I did. One in particular seemed a bit odd. I remembered owning it, but not that edition. My wife's, Rachel's suitcase was sitting on the bed. It was closed, but I had a feeling what was in it. Did I open it? Inside Rachel's suitcase was a few days' worth of clothes, some personal effects, and a train ticket. As I stared at the ticket, I could feel myself flush with anger and resentment. The date and time matched the receipt I'd found. Rachel, why? Were you really going to run away with Norman? Was I really such a monster? Maybe opening that wasn't the best idea. Our hallway mirror had been smashed, its pieces scattered around the floor. I couldn't really make myself out anymore. I wasn't sure I wanted to. Our sink, which needed to be replaced, one of the taps always stuck, but I hadn't gotten around to fixing it yet. The old house was charming for sure, but it wasn't always easy. We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those old wonderful claw-footed bathtubs. It seemed impractical at times, but it was part of what made that house home. Oh boy. My laptop had been left on. Only a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about an old water tower. There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. Did I take it? I pocketed the key. The laptop was warm. It had been running for a while. The key opened this. Door was stuck. Old-fashioned keyhole. So the key is the basement key. I unlocked the basement door. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. Garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. I took the small key and tried to remember what it unlocked. There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. We had way too much junk. There was plaster and an old towel here, too. Put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished it yet, so the door was stuck and the drywall was poorly installed. I might have been able to break through it if I found something heavy enough. Oh, that was that door closing. Okay. I thought someone else was closing doors. Yay! It looked like the room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? There was an old crowbar in the floor. Did I take the crowbar? Yes. Lifted the heavy crowbar. I appreciated its weight. Did you? By the looks of it, the crowbar had broken a few things.